After 5.5 hours of testimony, the Bayonne Zoning Board of Adjustment voted down a Muslim community center that would have went on East 24th Street last night. Problems began before the meeting was even officially underway, with Muslims who engaged in prayer inside the Bayonne High School auditorium receiving criticism from some of their peers.
He's going to sit there with the sign down. That's what he's going to do. Okay, listen. We want to start the meeting right now on time. Okay, can everyone please be quiet? Thank you very much.
There's a prayer going on. There's a prayer going on.
There's no prayer.
Pray outside.
No, they have a right to pray right here.
We're having a meeting here.
They have a right to finish their prayer.
We have to stop the meeting, folks. We don't have to get into it together.
In front of a crowd of about 500 people, John McDonough, the planner for the project, testified that most of the residents' concerns regarding worship had been taken into consideration.
The site, as I said, continues to be appropriate for this use, notwithstanding the fact that that building is within the 30-foot setback. There are no physical changes associated with this building. We're not going to see bells. We're not going to see ornamentation. There are not going to be calls. I think the public had concerns about vocalization or some sort of prayer calls. That's been testified that won't happen here. There's not going to be any cooking of food, so there won't be any odors associated with this land use. No ventilation or emission of cooking on the property. No special events other than what has been specifically testified by the applicant before you. What's nice about a land use application is it gives the board an opportunity to wrap a rope around the application to contain it. And that's exactly what a use variance is supposed to do.
However, residents such as Melanie Flora that live in close proximity to the project were far from convinced.
Does my fence, or what I'm subjected to, is that going to be considered a buffer by the board?
I would qualify this fence as a buffer. It meets the screening intent of the ordinance, which is one of the things a buffer is supposed to do, is provide a visual barrier. Now, I will tell you...
Not a noise barrier? 6 inches?
What noise?
The noise in my backyard. All this. We're not looking at the building. My backyard is 6 inches to the plastic fence. The place where you want to talk about putting all these cars into.
Joe Wisniewski, an outspoken critic of the project since day one, questioned McDonough on several issues, such as the fact that a 189-unit project was recently approved in the area where the community center would be built.
I'm just saying, are you aware, Mr. McDonough, that when the traffic study was done, that he didn't take into consideration 189 units, plus there's another building that's 19 units, and another building that's 20, that's over 200 units. This traffic study was done without all of that taken into consideration. Are you aware of that? That is a clear question mark. And please sit down.
Hold on a minute.
I'm not talking to you.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
I'm sick and tired of getting into...
No, you're going to sit down, sir. In a minute, you're going to sit down here. Okay, listen.
This happened...
This guy did nothing. He had no traffic survey. He's a planner. Ask him planning-related questions.
But he did talk about parking.
He's a planner.
Okay. Most of these people that are clapping here aren't from Bayonne. You know that, right?
You want to sit down now? Do you want to sit down now or continue? There's one more statement. You're sitting down.
I am continuing.
Wisniewski was briefly tossed from the meeting for speaking out of turn, though he was allowed back in when public comment began.
Sir, here's what we're going to do here. Listen, you go outside. When these people are going to give their final statement, I'm going to allow you to come in and make a statement. But until then, you're leaving.
Tensions continued to rise during public comment as residents clashed on what the real issues with the project were.
I'm not proud to live in the town of Bayonne. We really have to have a meeting whether or not to build a mosque here or not. And you guys say it's only for parking, but it's congested in Bayonne in general. There's like 60,000 people here. There's no parking on my block either. Well, how is this mosque going to affect the everyday routine of your life? You're going to wake up, go to work your 8-hour shift, and go back home and wait for 5 o'clock on Friday.
So, you have our city engineers that have worked diligently. They have told you that this application does not comply. You have a due process problem. In January of 2016, Mr. Akbar testified He testified to different services starting at 6:15 a.m., noon, in the afternoon, 5 at 5:15, or 7:30 at 7:50. The problem you have is that, according to Mr. McDonough, well, the application has changed.
We've heard a lot tonight that this isn't a religious issue. I would love to take that on the face of it and believe it, but I actually think that a huge part of this contingent showed their true colors before the meeting even began. I don't know if you were around, but a group of very, very quiet people went over into that corner and they started to do some of their evening prayers. The gentleman in blue here was one of the first to say this isn't a religious issue, and yet he's the one who started the Lord's Prayer.
Never felt this divisiveness. And this wasn't part of how I grew up. No one thought of me as a Muslim kid or an Egyptian kid. It was just Ali, you know. I was captain of the swim team for Bayonne High School. I won a county championship. I probably swam with some of your kids. They're my friends. You know, this is our town. We grew up here together, and we're not here to infringe on your property rights or hurt your feelings or be scared or scare you. We're here to be your friends.
The punishment for those who fight Allah and His Messenger and strive to spread corruption on earth is that they be killed or crucified or have their hands and feet cut off on opposite sides or be banished from the land. That is to disgrace them in this life and in the hereafter. They will have a punishment, a terrible punishment.
Finally, around 11:40 p.m., the board voted 4-3 on the resolution, which meant the measure failed since at least 5 affirmative votes were needed. I'm John Heinis with the Hudson County View, the eye of the community.